A lot has been recently said about Joaquin Phoenix's amazing performance as the Joker. However, despite his great interpretation, to many fans there is still only one unique and unbeatable Joker. Obviously, who I mean is Heath Ledger. We've already talked about his role of the Joker in another video, so right now I'd rather tell you about Matilda Ledger, who is already turned into a 14-year-old young lady. She is the result of the relationship of Heath Ledger and the actress Michelle Williams. How was this short relationship with her father? And how does she remember him? Will she follow in the footsteps of her parents and dedicate herself to acting? Stay with me to find the answers to those and many more questions about Heath Ledger's daughter. Can you imagine a world without television or without a cell phone? Doesn't it sound like something impossible in this day and age? But although it may seem like it, Michelle Williams, the former partner of the late Heath Ledger, recently revealed that not long ago she had to dust off a television she had in the utility room so that her daughter, Matilda, could watch the Emmys when her mom received the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a limited series or movie for her role of Gwen Verdone in Fosse Verdone. Well, Michelle is not so up to date with TV and everything that's going on, and that she didn't even remember that James Van Der Beek, her former partner from Dawson's Creek, the hit series that made her famous, was taking part in the Dancing with the Stars series. Now that's clueless. But yes, once she did find out about it, she promised that from now on, she would always have a TV connected to find out how her friend was doing and about everything that's happening in the world. Can someone tell her that she should use the internet for that? Do you think she wants to keep Matilda as far away from all the negativity that's happening in the world today? But since we are here talking about the not-so-small Matilda, before getting fully into everything that has to do with her, let's do a brief review of how her parents met and how she came to be in this world. No, I mean it won't be this detailed, but you understood me, right? Heath Ledger and Michelle Williams met while filming the movie Brokeback Mountain. That film gave the actor enormous international recognition and a lot of awards and nominations. Although he didn't receive the long-awaited Academy Award, life gave him a much greater prize. Michelle and Heath's affair was true love at first sight, and soon after they started dating, they moved in together, and shortly after the premiere of Brokeback Mountain, on October 28th of 2005, they welcomed their daughter, Matilda. Anyway, I've explained how and when everything happened, so now it's time to fully get into what we know of the only child of this beautiful couple. When little Matilda arrived in this world, the life of both Michelle and Heath had changed dramatically. The new dad was hypnotized with his baby daughter from the very first moment, and although he was barely present in the first 2 years of his daughter's life, in that short time, he was able to leave an unforgettable mark on her life. When he was asked about his experience as a father, Heath said, "Matilda is adorable and beautifully observant and wise. Michelle and I love her so much. Becoming a father exceeds all my expectations. It's the most remarkable experience I've ever had. It's marvelous." You may say, but wouldn't every father say this about their children? And yeah, I will tell you, not all. But according to a lot of sources close to the actor, Heath meant what he had said. According to Gary Grenell, his dialect coach on the set of Batman: The Dark Knight, when he was away from them, Heath really missed his girls, Michelle and Matilda. On top of that, the actor had no problem publicly showing the great love he had for his daughter. Unfortunately, Ledger started having some trouble falling asleep, so he developed a great dependence on sleeping pills, which in turn began to affect his relationship with Michelle. But it was the cheating rumors that caused the bomb to explode. The actress moved out of the house, and Heath became deeply depressed. As a form of therapy, he took on more projects, including the iconic role of Joker in the dark version of Batman by Christopher Nolan. To the heartbreak of millions of his fans, but especially to the devastation of his wife and daughter, on January 22nd of 2008, the actor's lifeless body was found in an apartment in Manhattan. Although at the beginning it had been speculated that Heath had taken his own life, Post-mortem analysis determined that the cause of his death was a drug overdose. Michelle did what many other women would have done when she found out Heath had died, but despite that, she couldn't help but feel guilty, and it took her a long time to let go of that feeling. Before the actor passed away, he wrote a will, but because he did it in 2003, Matilda wasn't even born and he hadn't even met Michelle yet, so they didn't appear in the document. So as an act of solidarity and kindness, the former co-stars and friends of the actor Colin Farrell, Johnny Depp, and Jude Law donated what they earned from their work in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, the last film in which Ledger appeared. Thanks to that, and obviously to her mother's work, Matilda grew up in a dignified manner, although always with her father's irreplaceable absence. But to be honest, only partly, and that's because the actor's sister, Kate Ledger, said in the documentary I Am Heath Ledger that in addition to filling her with joy, she must also admit that she was impressed not only by the enormous physical resemblance, but also by all the gestures and the body movements that Matilda had in common with the actor. So in some way, Heath is still present among his family. Despite how devastated Michelle was after Ledger's tragic death, she never gave up on her love life. It took her a while, but finally in 2017, she decided to give love another try and she started dating the financial expert Andrew Humans. Everything seemed to be going great because in 2018, there were even rumors that they got engaged. But when Michelle was asked about it, she said it was simply a beautiful piece of jewelry, and it looks like she was right because the relationship ended soon after that. But still, the actress was not gonna give up on finding new love, and that same year, she started dating the producer and musician Phil Elverum. They both understood each other perfectly because somehow his story was quite similar to Michelle's. He had been married for 13 years to the Canadian artist Genevieve Castries. But in 2015, just 4 months after she gave birth to their daughter, Phil's wife was diagnosed with cancer. And to make things worse, it was one of the most aggressive versions of that terrible disease, and she passed away just 13 months later. That's how the singer-songwriter of the indie rock bands The Microphones and Mountain Eerie was left alone with little Agatha. Isn't his story very similar to Michelle's? Maybe that's why they understand each other so well. So much that in July of 2018, they got married during a private ceremony in Adirondack Mountains, attended by just a few of their closest friends and family. Of course, those who couldn't miss the ceremony were the stepsisters Matilda and little Agatha. Despite how much they had in common, unfortunately, the marriage didn't even last a year because last April, the media confirmed what had already been speculated for a while. Since early of 2019, Michelle had been spotted in public several times without her wedding ring on. And yup, in April it was finally announced that the couple had separated. Ledger's ex-partner doesn't usually talk much about her personal life, and obviously even less about her daughter's private life, but last April, on the anniversary of Heath's birthday, she gave an interview for Live with Kelly and Ryan. During the whole thing, the actress was relaxed and even made a few jokes. And having a teenage daughter, she admits that she wakes up every morning waiting for that transformation of her child to happen at the age so feared by parents. However, Michelle said that so far, the daughter she had with Ledger remains a well-behaved and affectionate as ever. The presenters also joked with Michelle and told her that it may be the first case of a teenage girl who jumps through that difficult age. Wouldn't her mom be so lucky? But that's not the only time that Michelle has talked about Matilda and how much she worries about her and is concerned with raising a teenager as a single mom. As the actress said in an interview with Vanity Fair last July, when you're a single parent and that element of provider and protection is missing, it's scary. However, the fact that the teenager stays focused and calm is mostly thanks to the communication that Michelle has with her, because in that same interview, she mentioned that Matilda asks about her father all the time, and Michelle tells her about her father and that her dad loved her since before anyone thought that she was talented, pretty, or had nice clothes. So as we can see at the moment, all we know is that the girl is growing up with good values and with a great example that her mother is setting for her. And time will tell if Matilda decides to dedicate her life to acting or not. But if she does so, I have no doubt that she will show lots of talent. Well, both her parents have shown that they have had enough of it. So tell me what you think of Matilda Ledger. Do you think that her mother is setting a good example for her? Do you think that one day we will see her on the screens? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with Curious Sips. Until next time.